This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on second phase of upcoming assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam. The participants are K.S. Sachidanand Murthy, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist.
Polling for the second phase of ongoing assembly elections in Assam and West Bengal, along with 3 other states and union territory, are to be held on April 1. The crucial assembly elections are being watched with bated breath as BJP has campaigned very aggressively in West Bengal, where in 2019 Lok Sabha polls it won an impressive tally of 18 Lok Sabha seats. So BJP has considered itself to be a contender in snatching power from Trinamool Congress Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, who is eyeing for a third term. In Assam also, the second phase will be held on April 1 along with West Bengal. In second phase in Assam, 39 seats will go to polls, whereas in West Bengal, 30 seats will go to polls during this second phase on April 1. The most crucial part in West Bengal is Nandigram seat, from where Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is contesting against Suvendu Adhikari, a one-time trusted lieutenant of Mamata Banerjee herself. Mr. Murthy, if we look at West Bengal first, in second phase there are 171 candidates, including 19 women, and 30 seats are in the fray. What is your assessment at second phase of assembly polling in West Bengal, just 2 days away?
Nandigram is the focus of not just media or the political class, but I think the entire world which is interested in India, because the fight for Nandigram symbolizes maybe the future few years of Indian electoral dominance, because this is the most crucial, although we have elections in 4 states and 1 union territory, but the election in Bengal has assumed the most vital importance because the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party wants to extend its dominance everywhere in every corner, because if you look at Bengal, it also sends 42 Lok Sabha members. It's a very important state, so they want to win. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, and the party president J.P. Nadda are trying their best, and standing alone against them is Mamata Banerjee. She has no allies. She has no other support within the state. There's also a third front. But she says, I can take on the might of the BJP. And she has made Nandigram the most prestigious constituency because the BJP also knows that she came into prominence. She could win in 2011 for the first time state power through the agitation in Nandigram over the left front government plans to acquire a lot of land belonging to farmers in Nandigram. So it has been a bastion of Mamata Banerjee and the Trinamool Congress. And as you rightly noted, her trusted lieutenant Suvendu from the Adhikari family is one of the most dominant political family which was very close to Mamata Banerjee. Now the Shishya has turned against the Guru, and this is the contest the country is looking forward to, and this is where there's intensive rivalry because of the complexity of the electors, both in terms of religious and caste terms, and then in terms of very strong affinities, whether they have shifted, whether voters have turned overnight from one side to the other. I mean, there's a left-hand candidate from the CPM, but then nobody is talking about that candidate. It's only the contest between Mamata, and that is the symbol because, and also the language used by both sides is very, very strong against the other, and it's a do or die battle for Mamata Banerjee, and for BJP also. Capturing Nandigram means capturing the entire East. That is Nandigram has become the symbol of the East to which it is aspiring.
Mr. Murthy, if we look at other areas like South 24 Parganas, Bankura and Purba Mednipur where Nandigram is located, and this Adhikari family in that belt has influence over something like 20 to 30 seats, and Suvendu and his brother Divyendu both have crossed over to BJP. As you pointed out, the influence of Adhikari family is also quite large and they have a good footprint in that area. Now, why BJP had, failed to taste victory in South 24 Parganas in 2019 elections. But now, when the BJP won 18 Lok Sabha seats in 2019 and Mednipur, voted for Trinamool Congress, I think that was the turning point when BJP started looking at itself very seriously as a contender in assembly elections, and like Mamata Banerjee had overthrown more than 3-decade-old left-front government when she first contested elections on her party, Trinamool Congress, under her party's banner. Similarly, BJP has also banged heavily upon, as you rightly said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has harped upon the plank of development, and BJP has accused Trinamool Congress of falling back on the indices of development, industry, electronics, jobs, all these on which at one point of time West Bengal used to be a shining example. All these things have dissipated these factors. So between 2019 and 2021, how would you say that, the BJP's vote share rose to nearly 40%, and Trinamool Congress in Mednipur, their percentage came down from 67% to nearly 63% or so, if you look at the figures. But do you think is the landscape, how it changed between 2019 and 2021, and how BJP has become a key player now in West Bengal, which used to be a citadel of left front?
I think if you look at the results in 2019 Lok Sabha elections, among the 5 states on the Bay of Bengal, the coastal states from Tamil Nadu onwards, if you look at only in Bengal, amidst a Modi wave in the country, only in Bengal the BJP did very well. I mean, it didn't do well in Odisha, the undivided Andhra Pradesh states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, or in Tamil Nadu, but where regional parties did very well. So it was for the BJP leadership. It was one way it paid their hard work in Bengal, but suddenly the graph had changed that a bulk of the Bengal voters were looking at the BJP seriously, and the BJP won 18 Lok Sabha seats. And as you rightly noted, even though East Medinapur, Purva Medinapur went to TMC, there were many new areas which came under the grip of BJP, which had not done well at all in the 2016 assembly elections. So, and that meant that the next 2 years of BJP worked very hard. They got many senior Trinamool Congress leaders who are very unhappy for various reasons, including the increasing prominence of Mamata Banerjee's nephew, so that they got, and Surendra Adhikari is a big catch. But then there were others who came. Dinesh Trivedi was humiliated as a railway minister of India, because after he presented a budget, he was changed. So there were so many other MPs, MLAs who switched over. So there was one way the BJP grew among the voters, but also inorganically grew by huge defections from the Trinamool Congress. I think that is where the BJP became the big player. And once the BJP's machinery is so good, they've got all the resources at their command. They put so many central leaders on the job. Organizers came from different states. So it was a huge, and that's why there was such a scramble for seats between the old BJP and the new BJP. And then there was even a dispute between the new BJP and the very new BJP, because those who had defected after the elections were announced. So that kind of thirst came because there was a sense that Mamata had become weak and she could be dislodged. But then she, being the fighter, she has taken the battle to the BJP in Nandigram.
Right. If you look at the prospects of Congress, left parties, Indian Secular Front, CPIM, apart from even BSP has fielded 7 candidates in this phase. And as you said that CPIM's Meenakshi Mukherjee is the candidate from Nandigram. But that traction is not there. So do you consider Congress left parties, I mean CPI, CPM and Indian Secular Front a serious contender this time in West Bengal?
One of the things people say is those who have seen the campaign, seen the rallies of the Samyukta Morcha, is that if they have a lot of voters, these are invisible voters. Obviously, they are not coming out in numbers. Though when they launched their campaign in Brigade Parade Grounds in Calcutta, the estimates were they had about 8 lakh crowd, which was very good, on par with the kind of crowds both the BJP and Trinamool Congress got there. But as the intensity of the contest increased, somehow they seem to have fallen back, unless there are a huge number of undecided voters who are invisible so far. Otherwise, their prospects don't appear to be good on paper.
If we go over to Assam, Mr. Murthy, the Assam will have three phases of polling for 126 assembly seats, and first phase of 47 has already been held on 27th March, and second phase on April 1 will see 39 seats going to polls which are spread over 13 districts. But in the first phase, it was BJP's dominance in the northeastern state of Assam was much talked about, and it was said that BJP might have done very well in first phase. And in 2016 assembly elections, out of 24 seats which BJP had contested, it had won 60. And this time BJP leading the NDA platform has AGP, Aham Gan Parishad and UPPL as its allies. This time also we have seen high decibel campaign in Assam, where in second phase there are 345 candidates who are in the fray, and this includes 26 women also. And as against NDA led by BJP, we have Mahajot of Congress and Bodoland People's Front and All India United Democratic Front, and left parties are also there. So all in all, how do you see things panning out in Assam?
I think this phase of campaigning has been very intense because if you look at the way the BJP has sent its big leaders, but also the Congress most prominent campaigners, both Priyanka and Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi was there today also. They have concentrated on Assam. So far, they have not stepped into Bengal for even one day, for one meeting. So that shows that in the east, the Congress knows that its best chances are in Assam rather than in Bengal. They say that the compulsions of the fighting the communists in Kerala is making the Congress top leaders wary of going to Bengal, where they are in alignment with the left parties, until the polling in Kerala is over on the 6th of April, so that they are available for the next remaining 5 phases of campaigning in Bengal. But whatever the Congress has taken a very bold step in Assam by aligning with AUDF and also has a significant Bodo group with it. So in terms of alliance building, Congress has done better than it did in the last election. But against a dominant BJP, which has had 5 years of government without any internal dissidents. I mean, if you look at smaller states like Uttarakhand or Tripura, BJP has faced more dissidents. But Assam unit has functioned as one, despite the chief ministerial ambitions of the number 2 in the government, Himanta Biswa Sarma. But they managed to run the party well. So now how well this new combination of the Mahajot against the BJP, which has its own Indian participants, partners in it, this is a challenge. And this second phase is very crucial because this is where the swing constituencies are very much there.
Karimganj, Silchar, Lakhipur, Nowgang, Lumding, Hojai, these are the main constituencies which are going to polls in the second phase. But another question which comes to mind if you look at Assam is how far CAA and NRC have been able to be a factor in the minds of voters.
Yes, for all parties, CAA is a very important talking point. And so that's why they have been, the Congress has declared, Mahajot has declared that they won't implement it if it comes. And even the BJP has said that they will ensure the changes are made so that no genuine citizen is affected by it. Because the only state in the country where the identification of genuine Indians and foreigners has happened on a large scale in Assam thanks to the huge exercise undertaken on the orders of the Supreme Court, which led to many number of people who had all documents and all that being declared as foreigners. So it was a traumatic period for Assam. After that, the CAA came. So, but then the BJP is nationally committed to implement that law. But they have been saying that no, we'll tweak it as far as Assam is concerned. But it is an issue how people have internalized it and how it will conflict with other issues like development, like other things. That is a test of BJP's messaging and the opposition's campaign.
Thank you, Mr. Murthy, for the discussion.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on second phase of upcoming assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam. The participants were K.S. Sachidanand Murthy, political analyst, and Vinay Kumar, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our website newsonair.com. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.